The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Pretty typical LR. Solid on defense and creates all kinds of problems offensively. They're really good up front. That's what makes them special. Probably if they ran any kind of offense, they'd be dangerous because of their 5 offensive linemen. 6 because they've been starting another guy for an injured guy, and they're a very capable football team up front. And then we throw in speed behind them, and especially they got 4 running backs that can run. I'm talking about the quarterback. Big old fullback can run, both slots that can run, and quarterback that can fly. So. See no weaknesses. Wideouts enjoy blocking. They better because they've only thrown 16 passes all year, and so. But they'll always hurt you with a pass. They have us every year. They've hurt us with a pass, and and defensively solid, and have given up a few pass yardage, which is unusual for them, but they are a very capable football team with good kicking game and a complete package, looks to me like.
How do you put together the complete package this week, getting offense, defense, and special teams all on?
Well, it'd be nice if we played a game with all 3 functioning at the level that they're supposed to function at. We haven't had that yet, and of course, we're a young football team that's still developing and still growing, and we're still learning how to block and tackle. We had more missed tackles this last ball game than we've had in the history of Carson-Newman, probably. We broke history in a lot of ways. We were on the field for 100 defensive snaps, and we had more points than we did offensive snaps, and that's quite an unusual package. And we gave up another kickoff return. And we had a couple of good punt returns. We kicked off 10 times, and 9 of them we did a great job, and 1 of them we act like we had never done it before. So, and I think it was the 10th one, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So,
9th or 10th one.
9th or 10th one. So, anyway, we just got to keep improving and keep getting better, and tackling is going to be so important this week. We've got to quit missing tackles, because in an option game, the guy that's assigned to the option and to the phases of the option has got to make the tackle, or you've got somebody in space without anybody tackling him.
Does it help that you played, I hesitate to call Cumberland's a true flex to an option team. Does it help that you played Cumberland's and shorter prior to this game?
Well, probably, but Lenoir-Rhyne's a whole different package. I mean, they've got so many different counters and so many different wrinkles off of their option game. And again, they got a quarterback that is a sprinter on the track team, and so when he gets a crease, it's see you around. And so they've got a lot of weapons, and more weapons than anybody we've seen so far.
You talked about their front being so good. What makes them so good?
Well, they're big, they're quick, they're relentless. They like to try to intimidate people. They're talented. They're experienced. So there's not anything missing there. They're big, fast, experienced, and aggressive.
Evanson's a quarterback, a new slot back who's kind of taking the role that Gerard Spears had taken Christine Ivory. Is he of that Gerard Spears mold, just fleet of foot and beat you to the edge?
I don't see much difference, except maybe Spears just had 4 years of experience and knew that he could do it. And so they're a talented football team. There's not any place where they're not talented.
Looks like some rain is in the forecast, obviously, with 2 teams that like to run the football. might not affect you as much as teams that might want to throw the football, but do you do anything during the week? I know it's raining today. Do you try to get outside during the week so the quarterbacks and running backs handle the ball when they're wet?
We'll be outside, and we'll be just like last week. There's a slight chance of rain drizzled over at the Mars Hill. And so, I stand there with a water spout spraying on the ball when we were snapping the ball on Friday. And so, it's more psychological than it is anything. But to line up the first time with a wet ball probably is maybe a change that you don't need to have happen just to show up and play with a wet ball. And so, we'll make sure that that won't happen this week.
You mentioned the psychological aspect. It's LR's first home game of the year. It's a team that you haven't beaten in a little while. How do you ensure that your team is mentally focused to go on the road and not making too big of a situation here with the Bears?
Well, this team's never played Lenoir-Rhyne, and we got so many new people. We're not smart enough to realize that there's a psychological thing going on. I hope we don't.
Jason Williams, a solid effort last weekend. What have you seen from his maturation as he continues to grow in this program? Really,
really proud of Jason because he's grown in every phase. He's grown physically, really developed himself more and more. But I think the biggest thing is he's grown in confidence. He believes that he can. He don't have to make a stretch to think that he can make a play. He's a good football player, and I love the way that he's furnishing leadership, and that leadership's coming because he's got a heart turned to the Lord, and that's the way you become a leader.
Offensively, you put up 62 points last week, but is there anything that you do to ensure that they don't rest on the fact that they put up 62 and they still need to have the same chip that they had last week in practice to get prepared for a solid defense?
Well, we've watched video, so that's enough to keep us level-headed to see that we didn't play great last week. We had some pretty major breakdowns. We played better, but we didn't play great, and we got to start from the front back. That we got to continue to block like we need to block, and we cannot play. We cannot get into the phase again where we think that we can play 8 against 11, 9 against 11, or even 10 against 11. It's got to be 11 against 11, and we had a better effort this week on that.
Last year, Andy Hibbett had one heck of a season, and it kind of looked like he might not be able to replace him. Damien Baker putting up huge numbers this year. You have a lot of depth at running back. How confident are you in what the running back position has produced this year, despite the fact that there aren't a lot of snaps with those guys? Well,
I just like their competitive spirit. I like the way they decide that they're going to be wide open, and somebody's going to have to be wide open to tackle them, and usually more than one wide open to tackle them. And they're still in progress. Damien's only played parts of 2 years, and he's still growing. They were featured backs in the past where they didn't have to block, and blocking is a part of the game that we asked them to do, and so they're still trying to figure out what that means exactly, but they're really working at it. You don't have to worry about them backing down from a challenge. They enjoy getting after it.
Lenoir-Rhyne has forced 8 interceptions so far this season. They play mostly spread teams, but they've got those interceptions, forced a lot of turnovers. What do you do to prepare for an aggressive defense?
Well, not anything any differently, than every week. We've been very fortunate. We've had 1 turnover all year as far as offense is concerned, and then that was a snap from center, which shouldn't happen. That's about as basic as you can get. Take a snap from center. So we're really, really proud of what the coaches have done to make it a very conscious thing about turnovers. And the thing I'm more concerned about this week than turnovers is the doggone all at once penalties. Big penalties that we hadn't gotten all year, and then all at once we go over there and some of them they almost they were new creations. And you interpret that any way you want to, but it was interesting. It really was interesting.
You look at LR's defense, gone are the Botts brothers, gone is Blake Baker, gone are O'Neal Blank and Joe Anderson, they're cornerbacks. How is it similar? How is it different to last year's defense that produced the handful of All-Americans?
Well, they've got a redshirt freshman that has blocked kicks, intercepted passes, made a lot of tackles, and they think he's the man of the future, and he looks like he is. They've got a couple of transfers back there that are making good plays. The two linebackers are linebackers that have played a lot at Lenoir-Rhyne in the past, and so it's not like they're breaking in new people. They're breaking in people that's played a whole lot in the system that they have, and so I don't see a major fall off than what we saw out of them last year.
You kind of touched on it earlier. Their home opener, which is strange enough, in the first week of October.
Yeah.
How do you prepare yourself psychologically for what could very well be a hot crowd and a rowdy environment?
Well, crowds don't get to play. It's 11 guys against 11 guys, and as long as we keep that mentality, we'll be fine.
Is there anything that stands out to you about their defensive front four?
Big, experienced, hard to block, and seemingly they're playing a lot of snaps. So I don't see that they're, it's not like you can wear them down or anything like that. So Lenoir-Rhyne's a great place to play. I didn't say that a while ago. It is a great place to play. It's just a great setting. It's kind of like it's a bunch of gladiators down in the pit, and so it's a great setting, and I've always enjoyed that setting, and so we just gotta go. We just gotta go act like we have been there before.
Your defensive front four has featured Justin Long, who has come out of nowhere, forced into the starting role with an injury to Demetrius Harris. And Mays last week, 7 tackles and a couple tackles for loss, 9 tackles and 4 tackles for loss this past week. What about the job that he's done to get tossed into the fire and he's performing?
Well, he's been great, and and it's a great story. It's a great success story that a guy been here for 4 years and has paid his dues and kept faithful and kept working, and he would tell you that he's not big enough, strong enough, fast enough. He just shows up and gives a day's work, and so very excited for Justin. Glad he's getting an opportunity to see some benefits of all of his labor, and glad to see him making plays for us.
You talked about LR's front four pretty much playing every snap. That was true for Jerry McLeese this past Saturday. It was only 100 snaps in the game book, but that doesn't count a few plays where you had penalties. He was out on the field for 106 plays on.
And kicking units.
Yeah.
He's on at least 2 of the kicking units.
What's that say about his fortitude here in his junior season?
Well, great, and I didn't see too much of a back down at the end. It was still motors wide open as far as I could tell, and so he's. It's time for him. He's got an ability, and he's been gifted, and so he's more and more becoming the football player that we hoped that he would be when we signed him out of high school. he out of high school, we knew that he was kind of a gifted talent that didn't have much experience and needed to really polish himself. And he's finally starting to show some polish.